Good evening, everyone. I hope you all already had your dinner and are staying safe. My name is Hafiz, and I'll be the MC today. First and foremost, I'd just like to start by wishing happy Thaipusam to those who are celebrating it today. Just a few housekeeping rules. Do make sure that you are muted throughout this sharing session. And at the end of the session, feel free to unmute yourself to ask any questions that you have. And in between the sharing session, if you have any questions, you can actually type it in the chat bar and we will address your questions at the end of the session. Before we get started, I'd just like to introduce our Director of Y Associates Agency, Mr. KCY, who has been in the financial services industry over the last 15 years. He comes from a legal background and is actually an admitted lawyer in the Australian bar. Also a 4 times $1 million round table qualifier and a certified master trainer with AIA. He currently manages our Y Associates Agency, which is also a multi-million-dollar agency with a wide range of financial advisors ranging from certified financial planners as well as million-dollar roundtable qualifiers. Casey, the floor is yours.
Hi, good evening, everyone. First of all, a very, very warm welcome on behalf of everyone here from Y Associates. We are very glad that you can join us for this webinar. It's our first webinar for 2021. Such a pleasure to have you. For those who are celebrating Thaipusam today, I know you're at home, but I hope you're with your families. We're very, very thankful and we're very glad to have you here today. All right. So before I start talking a bit more about what I have for here, I want to introduce our founder of Y Associates. Now, Y Associates has been around for more than 40 years, and Harold Y is the founder of Y Associates, and I'd like to invite him to just say a hello and a warm welcome to you guys. Harold, to you. Harold, are you there? You're on. Oh, he can't hear you. Okay. All right. He's having a bit of technical difficulty. So it's okay. We'll get him on again. Okay. He'll come in and say a few words later. So anyway, I just want to let you know that this first webinar of that's happening today is one of the many few webinars that we have planned for this year. So we're going to have more webinars coming out. The next 2 webinars will be scheduled in February and also March. And also at the end of our session, we're going to run this session. Our invited speaker, Kah Meng, will be sharing about critical illness today, versus medical insurance. And he's going to give you all the information that you need to know. But at the end of the whole session, we have something very, very exciting that the team will announce. It is the Y Ambassador Program. So that's the one where we're going to have free gifts for our clients and the people who are referring business to us. So we want you to stay tuned at the end of the session after Kah Meng's finished his presentation. Make sure you stay through all the way so you get to hear about the Y Ambassador Program. Yeah. And of course, if you have any questions at the end of the session, please also speak to your life planner who has invited you or anyone who has invited you here. And if you have the questions, you can also ask in the chat box, right, Hafiz? They can ask at the chat box there, and we'll do our best to answer all these questions, yeah? So, Harold, are you ready, or else we will...
Harold is just left. I think he's going to
read. Okay, never mind. I think he's having some technical difficulty. We'll get him up later to just share probably at the end of the session. But without further ado, let me pass the floor back to Hafiz, and Hafiz will be... Oh, Harold's here now.
Wait, Harold just joined back.
Hi.
Yeah,
good. Can I speak now? I was sorry. My apology. I was couldn't hear the sound. I can see the picture just now. Anyway, hi. Good evening to all the audience. Thank you very much. A very warm welcome this evening. I believe you all guys have your dinner, and I'm really pleased to have you join us in this webinar. This is the first initiative that we have in the year 2021. And this is to a way to get engaged with our policyholders, our customers, let them know more about their policies. And also we want to get engaged with potential customers, and we want to offer our services if the need arises. So I like to welcome you once again this evening for this presentation and discussion, and I hope that you enjoy and give us whatever questions you may have in your mind, so that we have the expertise here to answer all your questions raised. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Harold. So I'll pass the floor back to Hafiz. Thank you very much, Hafiz.
All right. Thanks, Casey and Mr. Harold. So just a quick introduction on our main speaker today, Mr. Lam Kah Meng. He previously worked in a human resource division in one of the largest oil and gas company in the world. Having worked with the best of the best, as well as having a degree in psychology, has helped him achieve AIA's Rising Star within the first 4 months of joining the financial services industry. In 2017, he was actually awarded the top 3 Vitality Life Balance by AIA. Kah Meng actually specializes in helping clients prepare for legacy planning to the next generation, as well as to young families for income protection. I'll pass the floor to you now, Kah Meng.
All right, thank you, Hafiz. Okay, just before I share my presentation, let me just share my screen. Give me a moment. Okay, can you all see the screen, Hafiz?
Yeah.
All right, thank you everybody once again for joining the call. I know it's Thaipusam for those who are celebrating again, once again. Happy Thaipusam. And for those who are taking time out of their holiday to join us, once again, thank you very much. Welcome to this first webinar of 2021. So if you realize in the past couple of months, AIA has actually focused their energy on trying to promote critical illness. So we're coming in hand with AIA to try to launch some webinars to help us understand what critical illness is. So like Casey says, over the next couple of months, there'll be a webinar in February and also in March. For today, what we'll focus on is the difference between medical card and also critical illness. In February and March, we want to bring you 2 more webinars. We are trying to put one together called Early Detection and Prevention. And the next one will be called Recovery Journey of a Critical Illness Patient. So at least you know how people feel when they go through recovery after critical illness. Okay, so let's get started. So for most of us, we know that critical illness is on the rise at this point of time. The awareness of it is on the rise, especially with COVID-19. In COVID-19, when we face it, there are 2 kinds of category of people. One, with this pandemic, it adds on additional stress to them. They have to take care of their kids, their livelihood. You know, with kids, sometimes they have to go to school online. So you have to worry about what they see, what they watch, how they interact. You got to worry about whether they can take exam for SPM and whatnot. Then for your employment, you don't know whether you get retrenched, you don't know whether you get a pay cut. So these are the things that will add on stress to a person. For some of us as well, we have our parents living with us. So we have to take care of their welfare, ensuring that they don't contract COVID-19. So this adds a lot of stress to a person. On the other hand, there are people who are at home and they feel bored. I think just like me, you know, being home quarantined, I can tell you, people usually say if you stay at home, the likelihood is you will eat more healthy. But for me, I think I can't recount how many times I make cheesecake, banana cake, eat McDonald's, and also drink bubble tea, right? So both this stress and lifestyle choice during this COVID-19 pandemic can increase our likelihood of getting critical illness. So I think that's why most of us, in fact, for myself, over the past couple of months during the lockdown, I do have a lot of clients coming to me to ask what about critical illness coverage. So the awareness is there and it's increasing. But for some of us, I do receive comments from clients that says, actually, I'm very young. I will not get critical illness in the next 10 years. So this one is like a 30 plus years old person telling me. If you're living a healthy lifestyle, you still can have critical illness. So have you ever heard of people 30 plus years old, 20 plus years old, playing badminton, running, doing very athletic things, and one night, boom, just like that, they pass away because of a cancer or a heart attack? It does happen. So critical illness is not something that just happens to elderly, but it happens to anyone regardless of their age, their status, and their gender as well. So at least now we know the importance of taking care of critical illness. Your question may be, maybe what are the top 3 critical illness in Malaysia, as well as what is the treatment costs. So let me just share with you the top 3 critical illness in Malaysia. If you see the slide, the top 3 critical illness are cancer, stroke, and heart attack. And you can see that for cancer treatment costs, it takes about, at this current market rate, 300,000 to treat cancer. For stroke, it takes about 75,000. And for heart attack, it takes about 30,000. But for some of us, we say, actually, I have enough saving to do this treatment now. Do I really need a medical card? All right. My question to you is this: you have saved so much, you have put your money into investment. Do you really want to use your personal saving, your investment to do medical treatment? Won't it be better if someone else pay for your medical bill? Correct? The other thing also is that some people say, never mind, let me just use my investment. I don't care, I use my investment. But they are not aware of the other implication of critical illness. With the medication that's coming in nowadays, medical inflation is actually increasing very high. So I'll share with you over the past 3 years, what is the medical inflation rate like? Okay, so if you look at the screen, in 2018, medical inflation is at 15.3%.
Coming, you are muted.
Coming, you're muted.
Oh, sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was saying that in 2018, medical inflation was at 15.3. 2019 is 16.1, and last year in itself, medical inflation is at 14%. So this is one area that we need to be mindful of. I'll tell you the implication of it. So imagine this: in 2021, cancer treatment cost at this current market rate, it is about 300,000. If we take a conservative estimate, if let's say medical inflation increases by about 12% per annum, of course, we hope to live for the next 20 years, right? In 20 years' time, what will the treatment cost be like? So if we take compounding interest of 12% every year, in 20 years' time, cancer treatment costs can be about 1.9 million. For some of us, may be shocking. Is this true? If you open your calculator, do compounding interest 12% per annum of 300,000, in 20 years' time, it will be 1.9 million. So this is a serious amount of money for someone to fork out for treatment. The question also is, what other ways does critical illness affect us? So the first and foremost, if a person is diagnosed with critical illness, the most immediate cost is actually the treatment cost. So whatever the hospital charges you, you will have to pay. But for some of us, we say, okay, if that's the case, I get a medical card and that's about it. But if you realize when someone is diagnosed with critical illness, they don't just go to the hospital and after surgery, poop, I'm completely healed. No, but critical illness normally takes a prolonged time to recover. So besides the medical cost, there is also impact to your family. Like I said, critical illness recovery takes a long time to recover. You need to check your medical card or your medical insurance, whether it covers long-term recovery for critical illness. There are some insurance company that does not cover that. So if you don't know, after this, please ask a life planner that brought you to this call to check whether your medical card allows you to claim for long-term recovery for critical illness. The next impact of critical illness to you is this. Sometimes when we get critical illness, doctor will say, please don't stress yourself out. Please take a 1 year, 2 years career break, right? Or something worse can happen. If someone suffers a stroke and is not able to think properly, they may in fact lose their job and their livelihood. However, if they are blessed enough to live for the next 5 to 10 years, my question to you is this: if I cannot work today, how am I going to live for the next 5 to 10 years? So critical illness can affect our livelihood and the way we do our living expenses. Last but not least, critical illness can affect us in our future goals as well. For most of us, like for wise investors or people who save, right? You put your money into stock market, FDs, mutual fund and whatnot. The purpose of that is to have a good retirement, to buy a car, to buy a house, for children's education. The moment a person hits a critical illness and they can't work tomorrow, right? All these goals will be gone and it will affect your future very much. So the question is, what can we do to tackle this? Earlier, we brought you this question in the starting of the presentation. Medical card or critical illness coverage, what is the difference? So if you go to your life planner, you ask, hey, life planner, should I get a medical card or critical illness coverage? Since I know now critical illness is important. My answer to you will be get both. Okay, I'll let you know the difference between medical card and critical illness soon, right? So let's look at medical card first. The purpose a person gets a medical card, it is more for treatment and surgery. So meaning to say that if a person is diagnosed with critical illness, you go to the hospital, do the surgery, AIA or whichever medical card provider you hold will pay the hospital the treatment cost. So that's the importance of a medical card. Now, you may ask me, how much coverage do I need at this point of time? Knowing medical inflation is about 12% per annum, 13% per annum. How much medical coverage should I get now? My advice is, if you're looking to review your policy for medical insurance, try to get a coverage of 1.5 million to 2 million to foolproof your medical treatment plan in the future as well, right? If I ask some of you may not even know how much is your annual limit. So again, my advice after the webinar, please go and check with your life planner or your policy book how much you are covered. For some of us, we bought our medical card 10, 20 years ago, where the annual limit is just 60,000, 90,000. So you really need to review this, yeah? The next thing, so we understand we need medical card. If I have a medical card already, do I really need a critical illness coverage, right? So the misconception here is this. A lot of times people say, I get critical illness coverage because I want to do my treatment for critical illness. Please don't confuse medical card with critical illness, right? So I'll just tell you why critical illness. Critical illness coverage is a coverage whereby if a person gets critical illness, we pay a lump sum to you, more to do your living expenses rather than medical treatment, because the medical treatment comes from medical card. Critical illness coverage is a lump sum payment given to you to do your living expenses. Alternatively, what you can do with the critical illness payout is for treatments that are not covered under medical card, for example, Chinese medication, acupuncture, prolonged treatment. Some medical card don't cover prolonged treatment. You can actually use the payout to also offset some of the medical bill during recovery stage, right? Now, we know that medical card, we are recommended to have 1.5 million to 2 million annual limit coverage. What about critical illness? How much critical illness coverage should I have? The recommendation for most life planner when you tell a client is at least 5 to 10 years of your annual salary. The reason why here is this. Say, for example, someone is diagnosed with cancer or a stroke, right? Best case scenario, if they don't want to affect their financial standing, is if they get it, almost immediately they pass away, right? Then you won't have any impact on financial ability to buy daily goods. However, if they're blessed enough after being diagnosed with critical illness and they live the next 5 to 10 years, but they lose their ability to work, my question to you is, where do you find the money to do your living expenses? So this is where critical illness comes in. So I've explained to you a few points on what is the difference between critical illness and medical coverage. But instead of just telling you points, let me tell you a story so it's easier to understand for some of us. So let's take these two tales of two fortunes. Tales of two fortunes, Mr. Ali and Mr. Brian. Mr. Ali is 35 years old, a financial manager, and is married with 2 kids. Mr. Brian, on the other hand, is 38 years old, a mechanical technician, and is married with 2 kids as well. And both of these are very happy family men. You see them currently, they're smiling, right? the good thing with them is they have actually engaged a life planner and they have bought a medical insurance for themselves. However, if you see at the chart below, Ali did not get any critical illness insurance, but then Mr. Brian did. So after living a couple of years down the road, 2-3 years later, suddenly, unfortunately, stroke hit these two, Mr. Ali and Mr. Brian. They were rushed to the hospital. Doctor says, okay, for me to perform the treatment, medical cost is 35,000 to 75,000. So where are they going to get money from? They actually use their medical insurance to pay for the hospital bill. So if you see, Mr. Ali and Mr. Brian is still smiling and happy because they are not financially affected. However, just before they leave the hospital after the surgery, doctor says, hey, you have just gone through a very severe situation. You need to focus on your recovery. Please take a 1-2 years career break. On top of that, you must focus on extensive treatment care for the next 6 months. So now Ali and Brian must be thinking, hey, I can't work anymore. Where am I going to get the money? Or what am I going to do now? What is good with Mr. Brian is he had, like I mentioned before, a critical illness protection plan. He submits the report to AIA that he has a critical illness, and AIA pays him out 500,000 for him to sustain his family's lifestyle and also to continue to maintain his life goals as well. So for example, his children's education, paying off house loan, paying off his car loan. Whereas Mr. Ali, in this case, the moment he leaves the hospital, even though his medical bill is being paid for, he does not have any financial backing. All he has is the saving that he has. After a while, it will be gone. There is no additional cash injection to him to do his living expenses, and he has no choice but to go back to work. So now I've actually explained to you the tales of two fortunes. You understand the importance of critical illness coverage, medical coverage. You know the problems that we have with the awareness that's arising. How do we then tackle the problem? So I've shared with you the problem. Now I'm going to share with you the solution that AIA gives, right? So did you know that in AIA, if you get a medical card with AIA, we cover up to 1.5 million to 2 million annual limit. And this is, the lifetime limit is unlimited. So if you finish using your 2 million, next year it will renew again. The other thing good with AIA medical card is this: for recovery, post-hospitalization treatment. So once you have your in-hospital, you leave the hospital, we cover up to 150 days post-hospitalization treatment. Some insurance company or older medical plan only cover 60 days, 90 days, 120 days. For ours, it is 150 days, okay? Earlier, I mentioned to you that cancer treatment is a prolonged recovery process. It could be more than 150 days. This is where the other strong point of AIA medical card is. We say that if your critical illness is due to cancer, stroke, or heart attack, you can continue to claim recovery treatment costs from AIA's medical card. Okay, so that we give you a prolonged recovery assistance in that sense. Now, we also mentioned the awareness of COVID-19 is on the rise, right? So if you realize, you read newspaper nowadays, the health DG mentioned to us that government hospital rooms are all full and they're enlisting private hospitals to actually open their doors to help with COVID-19 patients. My question to you here is this: if you go to a government hospital, normally treatment is free. However, if the rooms are full and you go for a private hospital COVID-19 treatment, who is going to pay for your medical costs? Give it a think, right? Does your medical card actually cover your medical costs? For other insurance company, no. But hot off the oven, I think it was announced 2 days ago. In order to support the government in this effort where they open private hospital, AIA is allowing medical card holder of AIA, the newer one, to claim medical treatment costs for COVID-19 in a private hospital, provided it is inpatient and is medically necessary. One more thing about this is that for most medical cards, it is cashless. So meaning to say you show your medical card, AIA will reimburse straight away to the hospital. But for COVID-19 treatment, it is actually pay and claim. So just bear that in mind, yeah? Now, besides having your financial part taken care of, when a person is diagnosed with critical illness, oftentimes it is the most confusing time of their life. They give the report to one doctor, or they go to one doctor. They say, Dr. A says, take this treatment. They are not confident. They go to Dr. B. Dr. B says, take another treatment. They go to Dr. C. Dr. C says, she's not very severe. You don't have to do anything, right? It becomes a very confusing time for the life insured or the patient. AIA realizes this, and we have actually brought in help from an international team of doctors called Medix. So if you have a medical card with AIA, you can actually attach a rider whereby in the event that a person is diagnosed with critical illness, you can contact Medix. They will guide you through your diagnosis stage, treatment, and all the way to recovery. So you don't have to worry, hey, my doctor is not following up with me. Do I need to do this? Do I need to do that? No. This team of Medix doctors will actually guide you through from the start to the end so that you have the peace of mind to go through the whole treatment process. So I think this is a very good selling point for our clients as well. In line with AIA's focus on critical illness, AIA has also introduced a new critical illness coverage. It's called A-Life Beyond Critical Shield, which covers 75 late stage critical illness or advanced stage critical illness. If you realize as well, most insurance companies only cover about 30 plus, 40 plus, 50 plus critical illness. But for this year, January, AIA has launched a product where we said we cover up to 75 advanced stage critical illness. On top of that, if you want to be even more secure, they have also launched an early critical illness coverage, which covers up to 180 conditions. Okay, 180, highest in the market so far. Now, again, coming back to COVID-19, I think that's one thing that weighs on our mind, right? If, for example, a person is being diagnosed with COVID-19 and is in ICU with mechanical ventilator, and they have an advanced critical illness coverage, all they need to do is to be in that ICU for 10 days. AIA will pay out the sum assured straight away to them. Now, if you're attaching at early stage critical illness coverage as well, instead of staying ICU 10 days with mechanical ventilator, AIA says that if a person is in ICU for 5 days with mechanical ventilator, we already pay the total lump sum to them. Okay, so that is our advantage in AIA. The other thing that you need to be made aware of when it comes to early critical illness, intermediate, and advanced stage critical illness is this. For most insurance companies, when you buy early stage critical illness, if anything were to happen in early stage, they only pay you 30%. If it's intermediate stage, they will pay you 60%. And of course, if it's advanced stage, they will pay you 100% lah. However, in AIA's new plan, if you buy the advanced critical care and also the early stage, regardless of the stage of the critical illness, we will pay you out the total sum assured to you. There is no 30%, 60%, we pay 100% straight to you. So that you don't have to worry about your financial standing, even if you have a minor critical illness. AIA's tagline, I think, is longer, healthier, and better life. As a life planner, we don't just want to journey with our client through times of sickness and distress. We also want to journey with our client through their health. So do you know that in AIA's medical card, we allow our clients to use 300 ringgit every year to go for medical checkup. If I ask some of you, do you do medical checkup? For some of us, you say, yeah, very expensive lah. I don't want to be paying money to do medical checkup, even though I know it's important. But here we say that if you get our AIA medical plan, every year we are allowing you to get a reimbursement of 300 ringgit to do medical checkup. Isn't that wonderful? So the next thing that AIA offers in their solution to you, I'm pretty sure you have heard of AIA Vitality, our science-backed lifestyle program, right? The healthier you live, the more reward we give. Now, from now till 14th of February, if you said, hey, I've listened to the webinar, I understand the importance of critical illness, but my critical illness I want to review or it's not enough, and I choose to get a critical illness coverage with AIA, from now till 14 February, we will give you a free Fitbit Inspire 2 to help you track your health if you attach AIA Vitality with your coverage as well. So the idea here is we want you to be healthy. We journey with you in sickness as well. So we are all-rounder solution provider. So coming towards the end of the presentation, what can you do after this? After this call, after this webinar, what should I be doing? Number one is, yes, today is public holiday, tomorrow you're working. Over the weekend, please take out your policy book and actually check how much is your medical card annual limit. That's number one. Number two, check if your medical card covers you for prolonged recovery treatment. If they don't, it's something you need to be aware of. Number three, check how much is your critical illness coverage. Is it enough to sustain my lifestyle for the next 5 to 10 years? After you have checked that, or if you don't know where to find it, please contact your life planner that has brought you to this call. Talk to them, make an appointment with them, tell them, hey, I'm actually concerned. Can you sit down with me and review my policy again? I'm pretty sure they are very glad to call. If they don't answer, please call me. I also can help you with that. But joking aside, yeah, go back to your life planner that brought you here. The third thing you should be doing is to actually get the coverage now. Why I say get coverage now is this. People don't usually insure something that is broken. So I think this example has been mentioned many times. You don't go buy an Apple iPhone, and when the phone is broken, you tell Apple, hey, I want to get Apple Care. I want to get Apple insurance so that you can repair my phone. Apple will laugh at your face and say, why do you want to buy insurance when your phone is already broken, right? So people usually tend to buy Apple Care when they buy their iPhone upfront. So similar to your life, insurance company will only insure you if you are insurable. What this means is if you are healthy. So don't wait until many years down the line, think, and then regret not being able to buy because something has happened to a person. Okay? So now, armed with all this knowledge, you know the problem that we have with critical illness, you know the solutions. The fourth thing that we would like you to do is to refer your friend, share the good news to your friend. You tell them, I've attended this webinar. I understand the implication of medical costs, the effect of it on my lifestyle. I don't want you to suffer the same fate. I want you to be in the same boat with me being secured. Share your contact with your life planner that brought you here. And every contact that you give stands a chance for you to win a lucky draw. So like Casey mentioned, we have this thing called a Y Ambassador program running from 1st January to 31st March. Now, if you refer someone to us to have a chat with them about insurance, you're entitled for one lucky draw. So if you recommend 10 people to us, you get 10 lucky draw entries. So what are the prizes? The prizes in the month of January is an AirPod and also Fitbit Inspire 2 or other prizes worth 200 ringgit. Fret not if you give your name in January. If you don't win anything in January, your entries will be snowballed to February as well. So in February, you stand a chance to win AirPod Pro, Fitbit Inspire HR2, and also 200 ringgit worth of other prizes. Again, if your name is not drawn in February, your name will also be snowballed to the March draw. The March draw is much better. You get Apple Watch Series 6 or a Fitbit Inspire 2 or 200 ringgit worth of prizes. So don't worry about giving it later. Try to give it earlier because you stand 3 times to win the lucky draw. So just to update you all, this program has been running from 1st January to now. I think it's 28th of January. These are the leaderboard at the moment. So the preliminary qualifiers, you see here, Amanda Chong has about 10 entries, followed by 5 entries by William and Jia, and the rest are all there. So come join the contest. Protect yourself, protect your friends as well, and your family members. So I hope this has actually helped you understand the importance of medical card and also critical illness coverage. If you have any questions, please do let us know. But before that, if you want to know more about our agency, you can always go to Facebook and look up Y Associates. Or if you want to contact with me directly, you can search me on Facebook at aia.kameng. I'll be there to answer any question you have. Otherwise, go back to the live planner that brought you to this call. Okay. So I'll end by opening the floor to question and answers. If you have any questions, please do feel free to ask. I'll pass time to Hafiz to moderate this section.
Right. Thanks a lot, Kah Meng, for the sharing session. It's very insightful, and I think now everyone here has a clearer picture on the differences between medical card and critical illness insurance. So currently, do anyone here have any questions? You can feel free to unmute yourself if you have any questions.
My name is Loretta. I have
Loretta.
a question from Mr. Lam.
Yeah.
It was quite a good talk, critical illness, and I realized that I don't have insurance for critical illness. I do have insurance for medical. So at my age, if I'm working, at my age, I'm retired. Should I get critical illness? Because I noticed that critical illness, you can get a lump sum, whereas medical, you have to spend before you can get the amount. So at my age, would you recommend that I take critical illness insurance now? And do I have to go for medical checkup or anything?
Mr. Lam? So the question is, at the later age, should Loretta, right?
Yes.
Should she get medical insurance, or should she consider more on critical illness insurance?
All right. So to answer the question from Miss Loretta, what you can actually do is have a look at your assets at the moment, your savings and whatnot, because at this point of time, you are retired. So technically there's no loss of income per se because you're no longer working. So if your coverage or your savings is enough to last you for the next couple of years, I think then it's fine. Medical will be sufficient. However, I think critical illness is more important for people who are also working, where they have still liability to pay, loans to pay and whatnot. Because when something happens to a person, the loan does not go away. You still have to pay the loan, your living expenses. So for you at that age, if, for example, you have enough money to sustain for the next couple of years, I think it's fine. In that age, I would say try to think more of your asset distribution planning. So death benefit and writing a will, doing a trust. So I think that is what I can recommend you do.
Excellent answer. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks. Is there any other questions? Okay, so there's a question here from Ms. Amanda Chong. The question goes, for current AIA medical card holders, is COVID-19 test covered, or is it only for new policy holders?
Casey, you want to take this question?
We have to look at the terms and conditions because the COVID payment and all these things are coming out all the time and they're changing. There is actually a circular that was just issued. I think memo issued to us maybe about 2 days ago, right? Coming,
Yeah.
2 days ago.
Yeah.
So all the details are there. What I would suggest is to get in touch with your life planner. We will send you a copy of that, then you can read through because they change all the time. But generally, what happens is if you're talking about COVID-19 tests, the swab test, that is actually covered by Liang and Takafu. What do you call that? MTA, Takafu
Association.
Okay. So they are the insurance regulators and also the main insurance, how to say, not to say companies, but they're the regulators, and they will actually do this payout. There is actually a fund to claim also. So there are forms that we can provide and to do the claim from them, from these two insurance bodies. So to answer the question, you can claim directly from them. I'm not too sure if it's a repeat COVID, whether you can claim or not. But definitely for the first test, it's not a problem if it's required. Okay. Yeah. In any case, do check your life planner. These things change all the time. We can send you all the details as well. AIA has a website actually, Hafiz. We can also share their website and on any COVID questions for AIA policyholders. So they have all the FAQ and question answers there as well. We'll send you a copy of the link.
Okay. Okay, that was an add-on from one of our live planners actually. He mentioned that just to add on, actually for repeat COVID test is actually not covered.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dian and Kelvin.
Thank you, Dian and Kelvin.
Yeah, so our live planners already answered that question. Only one time claim, right? Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Since that we're talking about the COVID one, I also want to ask as well, because COVID now is allowed to hospitalize in private hospitals. So Kah Meng, what will happen if an AIA medical policy holder has to be admitted to the hospital for this case?
All right. So I did mention earlier in my presentation is AIA is the only company that allows COVID-19 treatment to be claimed in a private hospital. However, it must be medically necessary by the hospital, as well as it won't be a cashless basis. It will be a pay and claim basis. So meaning to say that go in for treatment, pay first, send the receipt to AIA, we'll review it, and then we will release the reimbursement if it meets the criteria.
Yeah, thanks very much. Okay, I have one question before the next one comes in. This is a very common question. A lot of my customers ask me the last 15 years. Okay, Kah Meng, maybe you can help to answer this. So people ask this question. They say, hey, I have a medical card already, and I claim for this amount. Okay, they claim for this amount. Let's say illness lah. They always ask this question. Hey, if I go hospital, I do some treatment for my critical illness. It costs 200,000, for example, like you said. The medical card pays. Okay, then they say, what's the point of my critical illness? Because my critical illness won't pay, right? That's the question they ask me all the time. So I know you've answered in your presentation, but you can give just a short answer to remind people. It's such a common question they ask.
Yep.
I know they say, oh, is it a double claim? Or they say things like that, right?
Correct. So, just to remind you all again, for medical treatment, you use a medical card to do it. For critical illness coverage, again, it is more for income replacement. So if you get critical illness, you need to send the report to AIA. Depending on whether you meet the criteria of the definition of that particular critical illness, AIA will then give you a lump sum of money to do your living expenses. Again, if you're covering for just advanced critical illness, you must meet the late stage critical illness definition. If you're covering for early stage critical illness, even if it's stage 1, stage 2 cancer or early stage stroke, we will still pay you out the whole lump sum.
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you so
much. I do have a question from Loretta again. She mentioned that the annual medical checkup for 300 ringgit, is it available for all AIA policy holder or just new policy holders? So this one actually comes together with our medical card. So as long as you hold a medical card called A+ Health, then if you don't make a claim from AIA will give you 1,500 into your health wallet. From that 1,500, you can use 300 a year to do medical checkup. So again, the terms and the details of it, you can ask your life planner, but just ensure that your medical card's name is A+ Health.
Kah Meng, I'm Stephen. Just to check with you, the $300 medical card annual checkup, you can also use it for vaccination. Is that correct?
So there are certain types of vaccination that you can use. Just on top of my mind, the most common one is flu vaccination. So there is a list that you can actually have a look at. I don't have it offhand, the full list. If you want to know, you can either ask me or ask Jenny, I believe. Yep.
Okay. And what if I only use 200 ringgit for this year? will that 100 ringgit be carried forward for the following year?
No, it will just be 300 ringgit a year. So if you the other thing also you need to realize about this medical plan, right? The 1,005 no claim bonus is paid up to 10 times only. But for this 300 ringgit claim, you can claim for your lifetime. So even if you don't finish using 300 now, you can carry forward to the 11, 12, and beyond that.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Kah Meng, there's actually one question here from Liz, I think. So the question goes like this. Complementary treatments is used together with conventional treatments, especially cancer. These are offered in hospitals, but centers that offer complementary and integrative medicine is not part of any hospitals. Any reason for this?
I'm not too sure of the question. Does
Liz?
anyone? Yep. Casey, do you know the answer to this?
What's the question asking? Liz, right? Liz, can you rephrase? Maybe you want to ask verbally, then we can try to answer it. Yeah.
Yes. Hi. So complementary treatments, right? So this goes together with your conventional treatment of radiotherapy or chemotherapy. So my husband went through cancer recently, and thank God he has recovered. He had complementary treatment in terms of your IV drip, vitamin C IV drip, colon cleansing, hydrotherapy, and all that bit. And it has helped him to recover faster. So, and the cost of this is quite high. Yeah? So I'm just wondering, why is it not claimable? Because it's part of the treatment. You don't go for this kind of treatment unless you need it, right? And I find that in a cancer patient, or it could be any other critical illness, these are important treatments. Because hospital don't provide these kinds. So I'm wondering why it cannot be claimed.
Okay, Liz, I don't think we can really answer why it cannot be claimed, but maybe I can try to just give you some insight on some of these things. These complementary treatments, I believe there are a lot of hospitals today, whether panel or non-panel, there are quite a number of them in KL as well, where they give not the standard outpatient cancer treatment. So you see, one of the things that when we pay the medical plan depends on the outpatient cancer treatment. So it is quite broad for, are you referring to AIA policy? You had an AIA policy that didn't pay, or another insurance company?
No, I have an AIA policy. Of course, when it's in a hospital, yes, it pays. But when it's I was with Spectrum of Life, but there is, of course, I'm just wondering why is it not covered?
It actually depends on company. First of all, it depends on company and whether it's a outpatient cancer treatment, because different companies, medical plan, pay differently according to certain conditions. Yeah, but in a general list, maybe I can answer this way. In general, any treatment that's not of the conventional treatment, whether they are supplementary treatment or a newer kind of treatment, may not actually be covered by the medical plans. It's true. And even alternative treatments also sometimes are not covered as well. There are certain treatments that are available now that hospitals actually engage with other hospitals or some overseas centers where they get certain drugs and things like that. Those also may not be covered under the medical plan. I can't really answer the reason why they're not covered, because it could be many reasons. It could be broad, it could be the insurance policy, so it's good to have it reviewed. But in the event of these situations, I would recommend clients to take up a critical illness. So I think that's one part of Kah Meng's presentation also. He did mention that it's not only to replace income, but it's also available for alternative treatment. So with policy, they will actually pay out based on a diagnosis. So example, like a cancer case, as long as a diagnosis of cancer, they'll pay you a lump sum. That's why normally when we talk to our clients, we try to cover the whole package. I think that's what Kah Meng was saying. So make sure that you have medical insurance. You should also have critical insurance because in certain conditions they don't pay. You can use this lump sum to do any treatment that you want, and you don't really need to file for claim lah. Let's put it that way lah. So I think my recommendation would be, for those who have not yet worked on theirs, to take up the additional critical illness. It is designed to, to have all the different facets that we want to cover. Yeah. But anyway, Liz, it'd be good to bring up your claim with your life planner. And of course, I'm quite sure your life planner will be able to help you with that as well, to see if there's any other angles they can go in. If we can, then I'm quite sure our team will be willing to help.
Okay, thanks.
Right. Okay, so next question. A question from JH. If a person got contracted with COVID but recovered, will AIA still insure this person? Or will there be any loading on the medical card, although they already fully recovered from the complications?
To answer this question, I have not have a client who had COVID and tried to apply for medical card. However, I don't think it's an issue. But there may be a requirement to provide a diagnosis report on your COVID to show that you have recovered before AIA will cover the medical card. If there's life planner that have other insights on this, please do let me know. But from my experience, as long as you provide the report and it's clear, there is no issues getting a medical card.
So far on my side as well, I've never had any experience of a person having COVID to apply yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so maybe we can take just one last question if anybody has any.
I think it's good to highlight Kelvin has an answer here. Maybe you can share a bit, Hafiz.
Okay, so what Kelvin is actually a life planner with us. He mentioned that insurance plans are structured to cover reasonably and customary treatments, which means that actually it depends. It's a reasonably and customary means is like what is a standard practice. So most of the time, like sometimes alternative treatment is not really what a normal doctor will recommend. So most of the time, insurance companies actually will not pay the kind of extra expenses actually. And that's why as Kevin mentioned, is that if insurance company were to just say that it covers everything, non-reasonably and non-customary, most of the times the insurance premiums will go up actually. This is what Kevin means by with the statement.
I think that's a good point also, because the insurers sometimes have to balance what is allowed and can claim and what cannot claim. It's always a tough one, I think I do feel for clients and the people who are not able to fully claim. But like I said, at the end of the day, I think it's good to have the whole package, medical, life insurance, critical illness. I think that's what this awareness series we're trying to bring up, right? A lot of people have the medical plan, but they don't really look into the critical illness planning anymore. And that's where Kah Meng is, showing us, how important it is to have this area. So, yeah.
Correct. I think it's okay. I'll come in. Okay. Just a quick one. For my side. So if let's say someone who is just starting out, like a fresh graduate, just started working, and they have budget constraints, right? So in your opinion, which plan would you recommend for them to start out?
All right, so very good question. I think most of my clients are all mostly fresh grads, right? I think the whole idea of an insurance journey is not just buying once and you leave them to their plan for the remainder of their life, right? You journey with them and grow with them. So if they ask me, what is my recommendation? Do I get a medical plan first? Do I get a critical illness, death benefit, personal accident? I always draw them back to medical plan first. The reason is because for most of us, our worry is the rising medical costs. Get that first. As your salary increase, as you go up in a corporate ladder, when you have more affordability, then look into protecting your income as well. So as a life planner, that is what I would recommend my client.
Right. I think if there's no other questions, I think we can already end this session. Oh wait. Okay. Yeah, I think we can end this session right now. Okay. So this session is actually recorded. So we will be sending out the link to this recording. So in the future, if any of you would like to review this sharing session, you can actually review on our YouTube channel, actually our Y Associates YouTube channel. So thank you so much, everyone, for attending.
Hafiz,
yeah.
Before we end, let me just remind them that the call to action, right? So really,
okay.
after this whole webinar, please over the weekend, take a look at your policy and have a look at your medical and critical illness. Talk to your life planner. If you need to get coverage, go get coverage, and also do refer your friend to us so that we can help them as well. Right. So thank you very much for listening in.
The prizes again for the Y Ambassador program. Do you mind?
Oh, yes. So this is what we are giving out for our prizes as well.
And maybe the slide before that, how they can participate again. I think it's good to just remind them how to do it. So how?
Okay, yeah, correct. So in order for you to participate in this, what we'll do after the whole webinar is your life planner will actually send you a PDF of this contest. You can click the link and just drop us the contact via a form. So once you're in that, every person that you put into the form, we will give you an entry.
So you don't have to buy anything. Wow.
Yeah.
So can we have a scenario? I have a question. So let's say I have a client right now, okay, and he says, okay, I've got somebody who might want to buy critical illness, and I send him this form. He clicks on the PDF. He gives me the name and the phone number of that person who's referring to us. So who will get the lucky draw? My client. Let's say my client is Ali. My client Ali referred his friend, Ahmad. And I sent this to my client Ali, and Ali filled it in, and he said, okay, I think this should be interesting for Ahmad, he might need a life planner to talk to him about critical illness, and then maybe he sends this video to him, and then Ahmad, doesn't buy any policies, he doesn't buy anything, okay? Does Ali still get the lucky draw? Can he still win?
Yep, so the lucky draw entry is given to the referrer. So in this case, Ali. Even though Ahmad chooses not to take a call or not to get a plan after discussion, Ali will still get one lucky draw for every name he gives.
Wow, that's amazing.
Ahmad doesn't need to buy anything.
Correct. He doesn't need to buy anything.
What if Ahmad refers another friend and sends this form over? Then how? So Ahmad also gets a draw. Right?
Ahmad also gets a draw. Correct.
Wow, that's amazing. So we're spending a lot. Basically, what we're saying is Y Associates spending a lot on to reward our clients and our customers. Yeah.
Yes. Coming hand in hand with AIA to encourage people to get insurance.
Definitely. I think that's the most important thing. We want to get people covered and make sure that claims are paid. I think that's a very important thing. Yeah. Thanks, Kah Meng, for clarifying that. I think that should be quite exciting for our clients who are listening. So, you know what to do. If you have someone who you feel that could benefit from this, we will send you the webinar link, and all you got to do is refer your friend. We will follow up with them. We're not going to push them to buy anything. I think we're going to be very professional. We're just going to call them, let them know who we are, and just for you referring a potential to us, we're going to give you a chance for a lucky draw. Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much, Kah Meng.
Thanks, Kah Meng. Yeah, so I think we've come to the end of the session. So like I said, feel free to contact your life planners after this if you have any questions, and do stay home and stay safe, because MCO is still the COVID is still out there. And
Thanks everyone.
Thanks everyone.
Thanks for attending.
Thanks everyone for being here. See you guys.
Good night.
Thank you, Kah Meng.
Good night.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Thank you, Kah Meng.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Hafiz.
Bye-bye.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Hafiz.
Thank you, Casey.
Bye, Jenny.
Stay safe.
Thank
Night.
you.
Good night.
Night. Bye,
Good
everyone.
sharing.